Election day is finally here and people everywhere are at the polls ready to vote. Look at this ballot counting center in Philadelphia where there are millions of early and absentee votes. And remember, polls close here at 8 o'clock tonight. Good afternoon, I'm Jay Cunningham. We have crews across the metro area today. In a moment, Duke Carter will take us to Lakeview for a look at voting in Orleans Parish. But first, we got to go to Asha Staples, who's live in Jefferson Parish. And Asha, from what we've seen, things have been going pretty smoothly so far. So how's it looking where you are?
Yeah, this morning we got here around 4:30 and there was a line wrapped around the library, and we said patience was going to be the word of the day, but I think that that's kind of transitioned to everything looking pretty smooth. You can see behind me people out here still casting their vote, making sure their vote counts for this presidential election. But there's a couple of steps that you can do to make sure you're making this process stress-free and, again, smooth. Make sure you first know where your polling location is. We do have that information for you on our website, which will help you check that information out. Second, know your ballot. They say that if you're aware of all the issues before you step into the voting booths, you won't be rushed to make a decision. Of course, social distancing is in place, and make sure you have your face coverings when you come. This will help you with social distancing if you encounter any long lines where you are. But again, where we are, lines are moving pretty fast and smooth. Also, don't wear any clothing or accessories which show your support for candidates or issues on the ballot. The polls must maintain a campaign-free zone within 600 feet of the building. Some other important notes is that you will be asked for photo ID when you get to the poll, so make sure you have that. But if you're a registered voter without an ID, don't let that get in the way of you coming out to your polling location to cast your ballot. If you don't have ID, just explain to the poll worker and you will be allowed to vote by affidavit after correctly entering identification information. So very smooth, clean system that they have here in Jefferson Parish. So if you haven't made it out yet today, of course you have until 8 p.m. to make sure your vote is counted. And of course, we're going to transition that word of the day from patience to smooth. So again, get out and vote. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, patience is definitely needed, but lines are moving pretty good, and it looks good out there. Thanks, Asha. In Orleans Parish, we haven't received word of any long, slow lines yet. Duke Carter is at St. Dominic's High School in Lakeview. And Duke, how is it looking out there? I see a couple of people behind you.
Oh, there are a lot of people behind me here at St. Dominic's here in Lakeview. As you can see, there's just two lines, one going this way, the other one going that way. And as you can see, it's moving. The question is how fast. That's the big thing, especially for today being election day. Now, for those folks who are in line, they have received a lunch from World Chef Kitchen. What did you get in your lunch? What did you get?
I think I got a turkey sandwich and some chips and mayonnaise.
Chips and mayonnaise. So you're getting some food while you're out here getting ready to vote.
Absolutely.
How does it feel?
It feels good. I mean, we got a beautiful day here and small old stomping ground, so.
Good. How about you go inside? I don't know to hold up the line. And again, this is one of the many people who are out here handing out food this morning. Good morning, to make sure people are fed while they exercise their right to vote. And so that's what we're seeing out here at St. Dominic's. We want to show you all some video of where we've been at some other locations here at Orleans Parish, specifically at the Baptist Seminary in New Orleans. Now, this is some video outside of people lining up early this morning at that location. And inside, similar concept, people waiting to cast their ballot to make sure their voices are heard for this upcoming election. And so the lines have moved very smoothly over there. We caught up with some voters who are just glad they're able to exercise their right, and they're just saying that this election, well, it's pretty high stakes. Take a listen.
They taught us at school, Booker Washington High School, how to vote. And because it was pretty difficult during the time, back in 1960s. And I never miss an opportunity to vote.
It's good, and it's moving faster. It's really moving faster than I expected.
Ready to vote, you know? It's time to do my civic duty. And just a super important election for our country, and just glad to see this many people out voting this morning.
And as you can see right now, this is the line outside of St. Dominic's, where you have staff from World Chef Kitchen handing out bag lunches to people to vote, so that way they can at least get something to eat while at the same time exercise their right to vote. As you can see, people have chips, people got Lay's, people got whatever they have, just to make sure that they can, again, get some snackage and not get hungry while waiting in line. And just to kind of paint some figures, we've learned that according to some staff, that 101,000 people here in Orleans Parish have actually voted early, whether that be early voting or absentee voting, and that is according to Secretary of State, as well as Orleans Parish Clerk, of course, staff here that we just spoke to. So we're just monitoring the situation, but the good news is it seems as if though those lines are moving and people are, well, properly masking up and making sure that they're protecting themselves during the pandemic. Back to you in studio.
All right, it's never a good idea to vote on an empty stomach. Thanks so much, Duke. We also have a crew on the North Shore where lines are moving quickly. St. Tammany Parish had record-breaking early voting turnout with about 40%, but many are showing up today and say lines seem long at some polling locations, but they're moving quickly. One first-time voter drove home to Mandeville from Alabama, where she's in college. She says the long drive was worth it to let her voice be heard.
It's pretty exciting. There's a long line, so that's fun, I guess. I'm really excited to do it for the first time and see what it's all about.
Are most of your friends and other people your age voting as well?
They are. A lot of them did absentee because we mostly are out of state at Alabama, so we all did ours early, except for me. But I'm here today.
Make sure to check your polling location at the Secretary of State's office before heading to the polls, because several people we spoke with showed up at the wrong location and had to wait in line again. And we also want to know if you see any big issues at the polls today. Text us at the number on your screen. That's 504-529-4444. You're going to want to tell us the polling location and what you've seen that we need to look into. You also want to let the commissioner in charge of that precinct know of any problems. If early voting was any indicator, Election Day is expected to be busy. For the most part, though, long lines don't appear to be an issue. This is actually the Forum, an arena in Southern California. It was labeled as a super polling center with 3 times the number of voting machines as other sites. There are places, though, seeing high turnout. This is in Louisville, Kentucky, where voters are reporting wait times that are hours long. And here's the American Airlines Center in Dallas. Take a look. Keep in mind, though, no matter where you are, lines will look longer this year because of social distancing. And as long as you are in line when the polls close, you will still be able to vote.